So what are we going to do next? We are going to do an activity today where we take this learning about the elements and you're actually going to show through drawing the different elements of art. Materials you will need, and these should all be in your packet except perhaps for that ruler or straight edge. By straight edge, we mean something that you can use to make a straight line. So you can use another piece of paper. Sometimes I use just a piece of cardboard, like at the back of a notebook, something to help you make a straight line. The piece of paper that was in your packet, a pencil, the black felt marker. These are those Papermate Flares. They're my favorite black marker, and then the color pencils. All right, so the project we're going to make looks a little bit like this. So it's a single piece of paper and it has those 7 sections to represent the 7 elements of design. So you're going to use this kind of as an example or a template and then create your own work that shows me your understanding of the 7 elements of design. So if this were in a live classroom, I'd say, who can name what they are? And then people would call out. Obviously, we can't do that. So I'm going to call it out, or I'm going to ask you. And if you feel like calling it out and startling the cat, go ahead. What do you think this one is? And I would probably say line, yay. So it's got thick lines, thinner lines, squiggly lines, straight lines, curvy lines, just a variety of lines. And see if you have an idea what this one is. This one's tricky because it looks like space, but they're actually paying attention to the space that an object takes up in a 2-dimensional way would be shape, right? So they also could have done circles and squares and triangles, shape. Now this one, they drew a bunch of cactuses, so it looks like it has a texture, right? They try to give that sense of texture, in this case, a very pokey texture. Sometimes you could put it up against the wall in color, and that would actually give it texture. You could glue something to this area. Maybe you have a piece of paper that's textured, or I've had students glue like rice or sand, anything to give it either the illusion of texture or an actual physical texture. All right, so this one is the value, otherwise known as shading, which is the light or darkness. Now you can see that they did a value scale, so they went from dark to light down the edge of their paper. They could have done this in one continuous shift. They could have dark areas and light areas. It's really just about there being dark and light and paying attention to the darkness or lightness of an object. All right, let's scoot down to the bottom here. Here we have a road going into the distance and the mountains, and it has that sense of depth or distance, otherwise known as space. So the sense of depth or distance. So they did a great job. They also could have had an object in front and an object behind. That would give a sense of depth or distance. I've had students do like a hallway. That's kind of a fun one. Or I've had students do like a big person in front and a little person behind, or an object with a long shadow. Whatever you can do to give it that sense that there's room in the picture, that you could kind of move into the picture. That's a great example of space. All right, this one in the bottom left-hand corner, objects that look 3-dimensional, it's form. So things that look like they have 3-dimensionality. Let's see, yeah, cubes are a great one for this. Any kind of shading to make it look rounded. And I know that's kind of tricky, so if you're not super confident with that and you just want to do your best, that's fine. We are going to learn how to shade like this a little later in the class. I had a student who did an avocado in every shape or in every section, and then actually glued an avocado to that section. So if you want to add something on that actually has form, that would be fine too. Lots of room to play around here. I just want to know that you're kind of grappling with the ideas. And then the last one in the center is probably the easiest. That's color. Okay, color. All right, so we're going to talk about these a little bit more in depth. I'm going to walk you through how to get your paper set up, and then you can move on to the actual creating part. And just to make sure, line, shape, texture, value, space, form, and color.